More Drag Race. Shocker. Shockingly. Welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where the tea is piping hot and we are ready to spill. I'm Logan Murphy, just a gay, here as always with my large cup.
Oh, and I'm Luci. I forgot who I was because I didn't have makeup on tonight.
The artist usually known as Luci.
But I'm here with my Willow cup. I just put the beer in it. It's just easier that way.
I love it.
You are a lady after my own heart. And I am Jaye with my gin in my cat glass.
Gin and Jaye.
Gin and Jaye.
Fabulous.
And I have the nudes here too.
Good. If you have no clue what that means, that's a cat. You might want to show. This is a cat. This is Noodles, the cat. We love Noodles with every fiber of my being.
Yes, he's a wobbly cat.
Yes. And today we are not here talking about Willow Pill, even though, oh boy, when I talk about it this week, it's going to be because I am tired of the infantilization of Willow Pill on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14. Anyway, tune into our Season 14 review whenever that comes out. Anyway, we're here to talk about UK. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. Hold on. We're here to talk about RuPaul's Rigged for Baga Chipz race, UK versus the world.
Oh my God.
Episode 2, aka the start of the riggery towards Baga Chipz.
Just a little.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I am still angry, and I watched this episode 6 days ago.
I watched it again today and got angry all over again.
Same.
So.
Yep.
I believe, I was at Logan's house watching it, and I believe there were some expletives that may have come out of my mouth.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Yes, it's a lovely episode, I think, to have both of you on, because I think we all have very different views on Miss Chipz. Some that may have changed now that this season is happening. Mine certainly haven't, but hopefully y'all's did. Because oh boy. But yeah, Luci, this is you've been on for 14, but you've not been on for UK versus the world yet.
No, I've been wanting to get on one, so
we're just gonna rotate all of you through all of the episodes. It's cool. We're cool. But yeah, so what are you thinking of the season so far, Luci?
To be honest, it's a lot more lackluster than I was expecting. It feels almost like it should be an earlier season. I feel like even the way production, even like the way they came in at the beginning, it just felt more like a special than a season. And I feel like a lot of them have almost taken it that way as like a special, not a season.
I can see that. Yeah.
Same. Because it is only 6 episodes, so some people are taking this more seriously than others. Baga Chipz.
Oh my God. Yeah.
In case you haven't gotten the gist of where I'm at, I don't like Baga Chipz. And Baga Chipz is not stunning. Baga Chipz is not grace. Baga Chipz should have been eliminated this episode, and we'll talk about it. Because she wasn't.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Baga Chipz did not go home.
We should have watched that.
Oh, but we do start this episode, and Lemon has gone home. And I'm still sad.
No.
I still don't get it, but
none of us do. None of us do.
It felt. I mean, as soon as they announced the bottom 2, I knew she was going, even though I didn't necessarily agree with it. But that's all.
I would once again share my thoughts on who the bottom two should have been last week, but I don't want to shit on Baga too much because we're going to do that later. But anyway, we come back into the workroom. Lemon is gone. She's not bitter, even though she definitely is, but she's not bitter. And then we find out, not to my surprise, and really not to anybody's surprise, Jimbo did choose to eliminate Janey Jacke, which then evolves into this Janey versus Jimbo, with, I think, a little bit of Blu Hydrangea stirring the pot. I think Mo Hart was a little involved stirring the pot. And I pulled this quote from Janey because I thought it was interesting. She was like, inside the competition, we should be looking at facts and not necessarily who is like, I get her thought process is like from the same country. And it just begs the question as to whether if someone else from Holland was in this competition, would Janey be thinking a different way?
Right. Yeah, I do wonder about that, but I mean, yeah, because we don't have anybody else in there from that, so possibly.
Yeah, she's totally safe in saying that. I would say it.
Yeah.
So because you're totally safe, I mean, you're not going to be able to kick somebody else out and be like, well, there's somebody else from Holland. Like, you're never going to be called into question. So, I mean, I would use that too.
Yeah. And it begs the question then, like, if there is a season 2 of this format, which I do hope there is, because I really like this opportunity to give international queens, especially, a second platform. And in some cases, a chance to meet RuPaul and be judged by RuPaul and Michelle. But it begs the question as to whether there should only be one representative from each country. Should there be 2 representatives from each country? Do we want it to be more even? Are we basing it on whoever's going to be hosting the competition? Because I don't know if either one of y'all or anyone watching has, but I've seen a couple rumors about a potential second season of this format with certain things changed. I won't spoil anything necessarily on air, but it just begs the question as to whether things should be a little bit more balanced than they are in this season, as far as representation is concerned.
I mean, I would definitely like to see it a little bit more balanced. I would like to see at least, I would love to be able to see a girl from each country at minimum. I mean, and obviously they weren't able to get anybody in from Spain or Italia or Down Under, but I'd like to see one from each country at some point representing going forward. It might be beneficial to have at least 2 from each country, regardless of season that they were on. But I don't know.
Or if just the numbers were even, I guess. Like if they would have had 3 from Holland, 3 from UK, 3 from US or something, it would have felt more even. Like it could actually be a good format for teams, being the kind of like drag Olympics.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was definitely girls on Thailand that spoke English, and the same thing for Holland. There's gals on, I think, almost every iteration that do speak English. So I mean, if they didn't want to have a translator in there, and I would personally love to see a translator in there to be able to help out or cater to the queens that are not English proficient. Yeah, because I think that could be really fun.
I think that I would agree with that. I love that idea. The only difficulty with that then is, especially since we're still in the times of the Panda Express, it's like they're really with how many people are already on production.
Right.
There would really only be space for one person to be a translator, and then if it's all of these countries, then you would have to find a translator who is proficient in Spanish, Italian, Dutch, French, potentially, if that comes before the next season is recorded.
I'll put my hat in the ring I can't do Thai, and my Spanish is abysmal, but I get the French and the Italian, and like I can Thai and Dutch. So like, let's go.
Sure. Well, Luci's learning Dutch, so y'all can tag team in. I think two maybe is fine. But no, I think I really hope they continue with this format. I also did find out from doing some snooping and seeing some things online. I found out exactly when this season was filmed. So it was filmed back in March of 2021. Okay. Which explains why there's no. So because Janey said she had 6 months between Drag Race filmings. So Holland had just aired. Right. And Janey was already going back into, or like, because whenever Holland season 1 aired, I don't remember, but she had like just gone back. It was like 6 months between her filmings. And during the Panakukin of it all, it makes sense why some of her looks that we've seen in these first 2 episodes aren't nearly as elevated as her looks on season 1 were. So a lot of things make a little bit more sense given that context. But that also explains why we didn't have anyone from Down Under, because Down Under hadn't aired at that point. We had no one from España because España was in the middle of airing. So knowing that, because I had thought it filmed in like May or June, but given the March context, it makes a little bit more sense. But
that definitely does.
Yeah, because I mean, also only having everybody from season 1 of UK, and then it just felt like, okay, they had 3 from UK, but only 2 from US, and how many seasons? It just, I mean, they really could have like a Olympic style version at this point,
which I think would be a really cool idea. We talked about it on a previous episode, Luci, but there actually was a season 2 queen that was supposed to be on this and had to drop out because of personal issues. So allegedly it was supposed to be 2 from season 1, 1 from season 2, which makes a lot more sense. But then given alternates, I guess there was only 1 person available. Allegedly. But yeah, so I do hope they continue this format, because what I'm seeing so far, I'm liking it. There's just, again, it's a pilot season, so there's a lot that needs to be altered.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we come back into the workroom the next day, and we saw in the teaser for this week that Monique Mohart, I'm just calling her Monique Mohart, because on the show she's Monique, in real life she's Mo. That difference probably came after the show it's filmed. I'm assuming at this point by the fact that they keep calling her Monique. But Mo is coming for Janey's performance looks, saying that the poof sleeve looked like, quote, her first time in drag.
I hate this because I love Monique Mo so much, and she is some of the things that she said, and I'm sure the editing too, but real villain vibes right now. Well, and I do not love it.
She did say what she said, though. So.
Yeah, she did say it. So I'm saying is not fully editing on this, but it's like she's definitely saying it.
Yeah, I mean, they could have pulled something out of like the interview or something and made it seem a certain way, but I mean, she just laid it out there. You look like Sunday brunch. Actually, you look like your first time in drag.
And it does make me wonder, like, if maybe production saw her say these things during, like, in front, and maybe her confessionals were not that juicy, whatever, but then it was like edited to make it look even worse, or like to back it up a little bit further. So it's like, I don't like it.
And what's interesting then is you juxtapose this like shady character that we've gotten in the first part of this episode and all of episode 1 with, then we'll talk about it a little bit in the workroom, her helping Janey. Just like straight up being like, this, you should change this, this, and this. And I think this would look better for you. And hell, it worked out for Janey. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting edit she's being given. I also fully believe Mo knows exactly where she is. And she knows why she was brought back to Drag Race.
Well, she's getting that
and
camera
so,
time.
Like...
She's getting that storyline.
Yeah.
She's not stupid.
No, and I said it before. I said it in the last episode that we did, but you know, she came in with this like Shea Coulee came into All Stars and was like, I'm here to win. I am not here really for friendship. I'm not here for anything else. I'm here for that crown because I know me. I know what I have to offer. And I know my talent, and I know I'm worth this. I know that this is something that I can do. And so she came in to win, which I fully respect because, she is so talented. Is it coming off a little bit like rubbing people the wrong way? Yeah, especially with some of the things that she's saying. So I'm like...
I also appreciated in this moment, Janey being like, well, I appreciate you telling me straight up instead of talking to someone else about it. And talking behind my back. And I think that really solidified some sort of like good relationship between Janey and Mo, which then is you add on Mo helping Janey in the workroom with her outfit. You know, if one of them falls into the bottom and the other falls in the top, maybe that plays to both of their advantages because Janey, I think Mo also can recognize that Janey is a straight up, no bullshit kind of girl. Especially because it seems like she's watched Holland. So she knows, because a lot of these queens seem like they maybe haven't watched Holland. They maybe haven't watched Thailand because they're not the more popular series to watch. But it seems like Mo really knows Janey from the show, knows what Janey can do, and is like, I'm not going to bullshit you. Because, and also at the end of the day, Mo's not anyone to bullshit with anyone. So... yeah. So we do find out that the Maxi Challenge this week is, we thought it was just a design challenge. Oh no, it's a whole ass ball. And in fact, it's not just a ball, it's the RuPaul Ball.
Yes.
As if we needed to stroke RuPaul's ego any more than he already has it with his name on how many franchises of this show? And now hosting Lingo. Did y'all see that? He's the new host of the Lingo revamp.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wordle. I blame Wordle.
Oh, I didn't do that right. Damn it, Logan.
I'm sorry. No, full transparency. We taught Jaye Wordle yesterday while we were at work. It was a fun time. But yes, so they have to show 3 looks on the runway. The first one is Kitty Girl. Wow, a reference to a RuPaul song. Shocker. And then the second category is Butch Queen, which at least I appreciate the reference to the ball scene because they typically don't. So I appreciated that. And then the third category is you wear it well. You have to take not unconventional materials, just fabric. Just whatever fabric you would like to use. And create a look that RuPaul would wear herself.
Yeah, I want to see that one out of unconventional because that would be really pushing them. Because RuPaul would be like, I'm not wearing that. It's like...
Some of the ones that RuPaul said she would wear.
She lied.
Oh, she lied. She lied.
But did she? Because lately some of the things that she's been wearing have been like, I think I wore that to my 4th grade formal in the mid 80s.
At least the look she wore this week looked like RuPaul. I was like, oh good, it's RuPaul is back. Great.
RuPaul is back.
But we have
going to talk about this.
Yeah, we have one of my favorite moments of any Drag Race season. We have queens running for fabric. It is just, I I love every moment where queens are running for fabric, running for unconventional materials, because it's just a mess. And this one proved that as well, because 1 minute into the challenge, Cheryl has already cut herself with scissors.
I would be Cheryl.
I would also be Cheryl.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I love Cheryl.
Oh, I love Cheryl. We'll talk about Shez, because... Anyway. Yeah, so Shez cuts herself, and that just really honestly starts a downward spiral towards the pits of hell for Miss Cheryl Hole in this episode. We also see Baga truly showing she doesn't want to put in any effort. She is walking around this workroom complaining about having to make a look.
You do that
Again.
at home. That's me at home.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I would never do that in front of the cameras, or you get a chance to do something like that. And that's what's frustrating for me, being as somebody who has auditioned for different things. Like, Baga's already had her chance, and then she gets another chance, and she's laying down on a couch. That kind of shit irritates me so much when there's thousands of other queens out here busting their ass and would love to be able to make a dress and be on TV for 5 seconds.
I agree.
And that's the part that irritated me.
I totally agree, Lucy. That I've seen not on this show, but another reality show, Project Runway. And as somebody who sews, like, I have watched designers be like, "Oh, I'll just sew at the last second and just like not even think, and then just like take naps or relax while everybody else is busting their ass." And it's like, you are not taking this seriously. This is like, so many people would kill to be in your shoes. Like, it's like no respect. It's no respect.
It's ungrateful.
It's ungrateful. There's no respect for themselves or the other people around them, which is not cool.
But she's so famous, you guys. She's so famous, though.
Okay, and you know that I loved her on her season. Yeah. I loved Baga on her season. I gotta say, I'm not loving Baga right now.
Good. Yeah, welcome to the dark side. Thank you. Welcome to the dark side.
A lot of it's because I'm afraid to have a difference of opinion.
No, you can like who you like
anymore.
No, you can like who you like. Like, I understand the people that like Baga, because I know that there are some people that are like, that love Baga for who she is, and this is just part of who Baga is, honestly.
I swear to God. If you put like rat poison in my like chilaquiles this week,
I would never. But no, like, it's just no. Obviously, I know that, like, I understand people that like Baga Chipz.
Mm-hmm.
I just vehemently dislike her, but I will respect anybody else's opinion. She hasn't been like offensive to the point of like racism or anything like that. No. So like, at the baseline, she's a drag queen. I appreciate what she does. Do I like her? Absolutely not. But I can appreciate her having more talent than I do. And that's kind of where I come from with like most drag artists, is like, especially the ones, honestly, that aren't on the show nor want to be on the show or audition and haven't been on the show. Lucy, I'm looking directly at you. But like,
I got close.
You will be. There will come a time where it's like, oh, remember Lucy? Yeah, she's been on here. Yeah. She's on there now. She's been on here too. But no, it's just like, it's ungrateful. At the end of the day, it's just, I can't, like, I think I like Baga Chipz, the drag queen, sometimes. I don't like the person behind Baga.
Yeah, I feel like I liked her. Like I said, I liked her in the season 1. The much better thing is run its course for me. And then it really turned me off, like Lucy was saying, just like her sleeping and just, there's just no respect for the competition, where other queens would have really loved to be in this position. So
it gives me Tyra Sanchez, and I'm not just saying that because Tyra also took a nap in the workroom.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, that was the point when I didn't like Tyra anymore either. So
same.
You may only get one chance, and also that challenge only happens once. It's one day.
Right.
Suck it up.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's talk about something more lovely. Normally, we don't really talk about the walkthrough with Miss Paul, but there were two things that stood out for me in this. In addition to Baga sleeping, I loved Juju in the walkthrough. When Ru was like, "Why did you bring me back?" Or "Why did I bring you back?" And she goes, "Because you love me and I have it." And I'm like, yes, that is exactly why you're here.
I just wish she would show it.
Oh, we'll talk we'll talk about Juju. And then I thought it was really, or there were three moments, sorry. Janey straight up asking Ru for a challenge win. I loved that moment, and she got it, so good on you, gal. I don't necessarily think she should have gotten the win, I'll be honest. We'll talk about it. But she got the win.
Alert.
Spoiler, whatever. I do that all the time. And then I thought it was lovely, Jimbo kind of breaking down a little bit after her walkthrough with Ru, being like, "Oh my god, I've waited for this moment like forever."
Yeah.
So to be able to make RuPaul laugh, like, that truly is one of those moments that like cements why I hope this franchise continues, because I know there's a lot of the international Ru girls that would love that kind of opportunity. To talk to RuPaul and like make Ru laugh and like make an impact on Ru. So I thought it was lovely. Yeah.
I keep forgetting that there's people who have been on the show who have never even met Ru until this moment.
Yeah.
So
well, and that was Janey in this walkthrough too. Like Janey had never had this one-on-one situation with Ru before. And I love Jimbo going over to, or Jujubee going over to, there's too many J's. Jujubee going over to Jimbo and being like, "I know how that is. I felt the same way the first time that I talked to Ru." Like that was a super cute moment.
Yeah, it was nice to really see the emotional side from Jimbo, because I feel like a lot of time he tries to hide everything with humor. So it was nice to see more of a relatable side, because I'm an emotional person too. So
yeah,
I would be that person, even though I really don't care for RuPaul that much. I would probably be the one crying too.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then there's a lovely conversation between Cheryl, Blu, and Juju, where Blu opens up a little bit about her gender journey, which, as someone currently on that journey, I watched it back today, and I was like, it still hit me just as much, even though I knew it was coming. And I was like, this is Blu literally, like, in one way or another, explained exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like the full like transness, because I personally have never felt that, but the like blurring the lines, because that's exactly how I am.
Yeah,
and like,
and when you do drag and you do get that, praise, and you get people that like, even it's just like flirting, where you don't normally get that every day, and you can get that positive all the time, it does become like a drug. But then it starts to mess with your mind, because you're like, I mean, it's like you, when you brought up me coming doing one of these not in makeup, I'm like, I don't do that. But then I'm like, I never do that, but I've been doing drag 21, 22 years, but you know, I tend to hide me away out of drag, because it's like that high that you get off of the support, and also being wanted and accepted, where, you know, it's like growing up, being the queer kid growing up and not even being out to yourself, you tend to always hide. So when, like, you're in drag, like for me, when I enter somewhere in drag, there are no questions. Nobody has to ask me a question. They already know the answer. So I can just like live the full fantasy. Whereas, you know, out of drag, it's keep your head down and fly under the radar. So, and it does mess with you at some point. And I think anybody who's been a queen, if they say, "Oh no, I've never it's never messed with me. They're lying. They're just it is. It's like living a different life. So when you get that praise, you get that love, then it really confuses you.
Yeah. I mean, it becomes addicting to get that validation. I mean, we as humans want that. So
yeah, and if you don't feel pretty in like your body, but then you dress up, put on some makeup, and you feel pretty, and then people tell you you're pretty, you start to think, is this how I'm supposed to be?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to being a woman.
So yeah. Well, I have been half my life. It feels like it just.
I was like, I do pinup, and I only get any sort of validation when I'm all done up to the nines, and I have not been on the podcast. And Logan is. I don't think Logan, you've ever actually seen me all done up. Maybe once.
Once or twice.
Yeah, but if I'm not like fully done up, people are like, oh my God, you look like shit. Have you gained weight? Are you super tired? Are you hungover? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm the same size, like in both. I'm just wearing like a pound of makeup in the other. And
I would like to point out as well, I have never said anything, any of these things towards Jaye. This is not me saying any of it. So no. I just want to point that out.
You would never.
But
no.
For the finale of one of these, you have to. For me,
I will. Yeah, okay. I will.
We're gonna get everyone in drag for the finale that does drag or some form of drag, and then I'm just gonna be here like an egg.
You know, I'll do your makeup.
Oh no, maybe I'll consider it. But
wigs too.
Oh my God, maybe, perhaps. But then the other lovely part is we talked about it a little bit earlier. Mo giving Janey some redirection on her "You Wear It Well" look, which I also thought was, oh, that's the Mo I know.
Yeah,
that's Mo. Okay, great. We're seeing Mo again. Great.
Yeah, I agree.
She reminds me quite a bit of my drag mom.
Aww.
Just that so honest. You're like, just shut up. No, but she means well. But you just sometimes be like, shut up.
Yeah. And then we walk into the workroom on Elimination Day, and Pangina is literally making Baga's dress.
No.
I was so angry about that because Pangina is so wonderful and just such a sweetheart. Like,
yeah.
I
attribute it honestly to this being the first time Pangina's on Drag Race, because a lot of queens in their first season, I think directly to Asia O'Hara in the Mars whatever the fuck ball that was, the World Is Ending ball or whatever the fuck they called it. I think of Asia immediately because Asia went around and was helping every single person with their look to make sure, and Pangina says it in confessional, she just didn't want anyone to look like crap on the runway. Luckily for Pangina, it didn't deter her too much, but I was just like, you've got to be kidding. Like, I appreciate Pan for what she's doing, but no, girl, no. Please no.
And if I'm going to help somebody, I'm going to help somebody not napping.
Yeah.
Unless you're having like a jinx moment, you're narcoleptic and
unless you're narcoleptic, literally, yeah.
But when you're just over it, no. Like, sure, I'll help. But
I'll help give you a horrible direction. Totally.
I'm like, oh, did I put a stitch in there that's going to unravel? I didn't realize I did that.
Oh, no.
Sabotage.
Oh, no.
That would be me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just...
We can be sisters and Kiki after this, but like, hi, I'm here to win.
Right.
But that's all I had from the workroom stuff, unless either of y'all had anything else that stood out to y'all.
No, I actually really, like you mentioned, the Jimbo commentary. I actually did really like that. Jimbo has never been one of my favorite queens, I'll say. Like, she's just kind of quirky in there for me. But I've always kind of felt and this might just be me because I'm such a left brain individual, I guess. But sometimes when people are so artistic and just live in their art like 24/7, I have a very hard time connecting to them because I'm just so analytical and I can't like get into that mode. But it was this moment where she sort of broke down and I could actually see the humanity behind the art in a weird way. I don't know if that's coming across correctly, but
I get that. I kind of agree.
And it's not it's not a slight to her at all because it's something that I completely respect and something that I wish I could do. But I'm just so like obscenely analytical and always like overthinking everything that I can't be a creative mindset 24/7, which I'm so envious of people who could do that. But it was nice to see that sort of breakdown and like kind of, I don't know, like this show is not about me, you guys, but like meet me in a space where I could like get to know her a little bit more and be like, oh, okay, I can connect with this a little bit more. I understand a little bit more about why she does the things she does or why she is the way she is. And I loved that. So I liked getting to know her. I felt like I got to know her a lot in that like few minute clip, which was kind of nice.
And we also didn't get to know a whole lot of Jimbo, the person.
No.
On Canada season 1. And so it feels like Jimbo has truly come back as Jimbo 2.0 in the sense of Jimbo 2.0 as the drag artist and Jimbo 2.0 as the human behind Jimbo.
Yes. And I think
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I think before we were only seeing Jimbo as the drag artist. And
which is so different than you just get from people there's nothing really relatable to Jimbo's art, like on a general day-to-day basis. Most people have that in their drag that's kind of relatable, but Jimbo's like this whole other galaxy that just kind of like, I'm in Jimbo galaxy now, so you don't really ever see that other side because she is just so extreme with everything, or like every time she steps out you're like, what? Like
you're
so
either
it was nice.
Yeah, I really loved that because I felt like I got that I needed.
You either don't understand her or it's pussy baloney. There's no in between.
Do not say anything bad about that. I think that is my absolute favorite thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I laughed my fucking ass off. I loved it so much. No, I couldn't stop laughing.
Well, if you would have been like, okay, this contestant's gonna do this, I'd be like, what? But then it's like just witnessing it. I know I was laughing hysterically, but also like, what?
I think what it is Luci, you kind of touched on this before, but it's like when you're in drag, when you are you are yourself in drag, you are this whole other, like there's a level of freedom that you don't have when you're not in drag. And it's like I just saw her doing that and the absolute amount of freedom she had to just go, I don't give a fuck. I am just going to toss meat sack baloney around and be this pregnant sperm thing, Casper the Ghost. And I just sat there watching that and going, I am never going to be that free that I feel that I could do whatever the hell that pops into my head and have it like just out there. Like,
I've done weird shit before, but I have never, like, I just want to know at what point was she sitting there and be like, that's what I'm going to do. Like,
I am like, that would pop into my head, but I'd be like, oh my God, I could never do that because people are going to think I'm so weird. And the fact that she just does it, I'm just like, well, I'm so envious of that level of just like,
well, both times she's been on, she comes right in first episode and it's like, this is me in my universe. And you're like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah.
And it was when she was cast, I will be very honest and say there were a few other Canada season 1 girls that personally, at the time of the cast dropping, there were a few other season 1 girls that I would have preferred to see in her spot, namely Starzy, namely Tainomi, namely Ilona. And so when she was announced on the cast, I was like, okay, we're going to see, because she was, in my mind and in a lot of people's minds, she was either going to swim or she was going to sink hard. And I'm very glad that she's getting the recognition that she is now, because I feel like on Canada season 1, they kind of just let her exist because her drag was good, but never really appreciated her in the way that she is being appreciated now. So I'm happy to see it.
I didn't think Ru would like her either.
I didn't either.
So to see that flip, but also I feel like she's really covering up any humor that Baga has. Like, Jimbo is the humor of the season.
Yeah, and I think it's actually actual humor rather than like
much better.
God, it's so overplayed.
Thank you. You are now all in the universe. You are now all in the universe that I exist in. Thank you.
It's just a willow too much.
Oh,
Luci,
no,
Luci, I have the ability to take you out of this forever.
Me?
No, Luci.
Oh, tell me that I like Luci.
No, Jaye, you're safe. Luci.
No. This is the first time Luci and I get to hang out.
I know.
I totally just followed you on Instagram and babe.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try not to do it again.
It's just
I love it.
Runway looks. Let's just I hate it. It's so demeaning to Willow Pill, and I hate it.
It so is. Can I just say a comment really fast, because this is something that's been stuck in my head. The last like 2 episodes, she's not like been like demeaning with the baby voice. It happened this last episode, and I'm so mad about it. I yelled at my TV really loud.
Oh yeah, me too. Multiple times.
Pretty sure I woke up my neighbors.
Anyway, Runway looks on UK versus the world and not season 14. Oh boy.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to talk about the queens in the order that they went on the runway, but we're going to talk about all 3 of their looks together, because making 24 individual slides was too much work for me today. So, first up is Pangina Heals.
I loved. So I'm a cat lady. I got 3 cats. I freaking love the Sphinx naked cat. I got it right away. Loved this. One of my favorite, I think, runway looks. And I feel like I say that every episode, but something always comes up that I'm like, oh, I've never seen this before and I love it. I immediately got the queen going hunting, and I thought that was so great and so smart. And the last one, it's funny where RuPaul was saying, and I think Michelle said as well, that, if you had something else other than the leggings, like on the bottom, if it came down a little bit further, I could totally see Ru wearing that. I'm like, first of all, I'm pretty sure Ru's worn a bunch of stuff lately in the last year or 2 that have a nod to this. And I can see her wearing it as is. So whatever.
Did she not wear leggings in the premiere episode of RuPaul's Rigged for Baga Chipz race UK versus the world?
Are you using Maddie microphone right now?
I am using No, it is not Maddie microphone anymore. We renamed her, remember?
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Oh, yeah. So this is now Morgan McMicrophone.
It was Maddie microphone.
It was Maddie microphone. My roommate came up with Morgan McMicrophone, and it's so much better. We love Lucas, but she literally wore leggings in episode 1 and then gave her that critique.
Yeah, and I was like, and I remember that, and I was like, this is bullshit. She'd totally wear it as is. I mean, Pangina just can't do wrong. She's like my top for this season. I don't care. She's amazing. I love her. That's all.
Yeah, I love the first look a lot. The second one, of course, I compared it to the Vivian because the Vivian, and the Vivian's was better. So this one, I was like,
I can see that.
Maybe you should have done something else, but it's not bad. And the boots are so hideous, it works. But like
I might have worn that today. This outfit.
And the last look, The only thing I don't like are the black leggings. Like, I wish they were silver, but
Yes.
or the same, or like even that blue that's poking through,
Right.
but not the black.
Or even if it was a more mesh black to match the glove.
Yeah.
That maybe would have been better for me. I'm gonna say right now, I'm upset that Pangina didn't win. I think my top two might surprise everybody because I think I have a little bit of a different top two than most people do. But I love the Sphinx cat. I also compared the hunting look to the Vivienne, obviously. I actually kind of like the performance of this look a little bit more than Vivienne's.
Yeah.
And I think the look overall is very, very good. The third look, for me, is one of the best constructed looks on the runway. And the fact that she hand sewed this entire thing just makes it even more impressive for me and makes me even more angry as to why she didn't win.
That's what I think because I told you, Pangina was my number one to win on this one as well, especially with the hand sewing. God, it takes me days to hand sew anything. The fact she did this during the day and then made Baga's outfit, my God, she should have won just for that. That's all.
No.
And then, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Lucy.
I was just saying, like, and then if you look at all three looks, they're so different from one another. There's, like, I would have never guessed this was the same person.
Right.
Yep.
Agreed. There's so much versatility and range with her that I absolutely adore.
Yeah. It's frustrating because the judges didn't know that she also sewed Baga's, and only RuPaul knew that she also hand sewed this last look. So it's just like, it's frustrating, and I'm gonna stay frustrated, but we're gonna move on because I don't want to be frustrated all day. And we're gonna move to Janey Jacke giving Sphinx cat in the first look. Orange is the new black, I guess, in the second one. And a cat suit with inspiration from Mo Hart.
Okay, I squealed with delight when the first one came out because I love this so much. I got the inspiration right away. I knew exactly what it was. Like, I lived in Egypt, like, before the spring, like, Arab Spring happened. Like, freaking got this right away, and I loved everything about this, and I want to recreate this so bad because it's so amazing and beautiful. And I totally got the orange as the new black. I thought that was like perfect butch queen. Loved it because she actually felt a lot more like, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but like when I have an idea of like what butch queen is, like this fulfilled the brief for me a little bit better than a lot of the other queens. So I was like, yes, get it. Got it. Love it.
Yeah.
Did not love the last one. The last one just totally missed the mark for me. Didn't love it. I felt it was like pretty boring, but I thought she looked beautiful. I just really loved the first one so much. I just really loved it. You give me cat any day and I'm happy. Cat's on the way.
Like for me, the first one, like everything from the neck down, there's just something I didn't like. I think it's the makeup I don't like.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm never doing my makeup like that then. I loved it.
Well, I think it's just the makeup could have been a little bit more, like I would have liked the ears more pointy, but that's only if I have to be like, oh, I'm being picky, like bigger ears. But her second look, like even the way she performed that coming down the runway, I was like, am I lesbian? I'm so confused. Like if I was in a women's prison, like she would be the one and be like, this is my dad. Yep. Like she did so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, the last one, it's pretty. It's pretty. But I feel like if you take the cape off, it's just a bodysuit.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
RuPaul would wear it, but
yeah.
It would have to be dressed up a little bit more in some way to make it a little bit more special, and it didn't feel special on its own to me.
Even if it had like a cool thing like coming from the corner, like maybe down to like a belt or something on the waist and some chains, or it just needed something.
Yeah, the proportions felt a little bit off. It felt like the crotch was a little bit too low.
Yeah.
there's something off with the proportions. And I even said it when she was coming down the runway to Logan. I'm like, there's something off with how this was sewn. It doesn't feel like it fits her correctly. And then Ru was like, this fits you so well. And I'm like, oh, do I not know how to sew? Like, oh God.
Yeah. So I have different opinions now than I did the first time when I saw these looks on the runway. The first look, while it's good, I'm going to completely agree with Michelle and say that there's nothing cat about it other than the ears and the makeup. I don't see cat in it at all. I understand the reference, Jay, because I know you're looking at me weird. I understand the reference and I get the reference. And I respect the reference.
Have you never been to the Egyptian Museum of Art in Cairo? Because that's everywhere.
I understand that. But for the runway of RuPaul's Rigged for Baga Chipz Race UK versus the World, it's just not at that level for me. And I wish there was some other feel, like even her movement on the runway, I wish was a little bit more feline, because it was kind of more just majestic Egyptian woman that happens to have ears and cat makeup. That's just where that's what I got from it. Sorry.
There could have been a tail. Like a tail would have elevated.
That's all I would have needed, honestly. I think that's all I would have needed. The second look, I think, is the second best Butch Queen of the night, and one of, I'm thinking, 4 people that actually did Butch Queen on this runway. This was fantastic.
Her legs look amazing, though.
She's so hot. I just have to say that as well. The third look, there was a bodysuit with crap attached to it that I liked more. So we'll talk about it. But good for you, Janey. Sure. It's Chaz. Oh boy.
Yeah. I love cats. I liked this. Did I love it? No, but I thought she was freaking adorable, and I was totally getting Marie from the Aristocats, and I kind of loved it.
That was she said on an interview that was her exact inspiration was Marie.
I love that. That made me so happy. I thought she looked so great. The second one I thought was pretty good. Like, I was getting the reference for it. I was like, okay, cool, got it. It's like some weird Evel Knievel woman, but she felt still too femme for me.
It's Essex Butch Queen. Yeah, that's what it is.
And I think, yeah, it is. And it's also just because she is so femme that it's hard to, like, I guess, put Cheryl Hole up. The last, I mean, she knew it was bad. I don't want to say anything else about it. She knew it was bad. We all knew it was bad. But her face and her hair looked so beautiful.
Yeah. I feel like the first one, I'm not 100% sure about the big bow on the back. Like, I liked it when she's walking away, but not from the front.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wish she had like a little kitty or something, because like everybody else had like their nipples and stuff, and like the front of Cheryl's just felt like it needed one more thing, just one.
Yeah.
Like the second look, if her hair, I feel like her hair should have been like a flame, because the shape's there, but the color's not there.
Give us a Eureka loaf. Give us a Eureka loaf. This is one of the few times I will advocate for a Eureka loaf in the shape of a flame.
Well, like even that, the way it is, if it was like that bright red going into the yellow,
you're right.
It would have. That's the only thing with that one. Like, I get the butchness, but it still could have been a little butcher, a little more butch.
I agree.
Yeah. And the second one, her face is pretty. You're right. It's that whole sash and that, it like just, I would have taken that completely off.
All I wish.
From the neck up and the thigh down, she looked great.
All I wish with the third look, honestly, is I wish she had taken some of that leopard fabric, made a belt, like a statement thick belt, and taken the rest of it and made a train in the back coming off of like the shoulder or something. I think that would have made the look even better and even more RuPaul. Because at the end of the day, this looks like something RuPaul has worn on the runway in one of these seasons.
First.
Yeah.
I will say it was pretty funny when we were watching this live last week. One of our friends that was at the viewing with us, when Cheryl came out for the Butch Queen for the second look, she goes, "Oh my God, is that Tina Burner? I didn't realize she was on this episode."
I would say stop trying to make Tina Burner happen, but honestly, the concept of Tina Burner has evolved so much beyond the person Tina Burner. That I like stop trying to make the concept of Tina Burner happen is where I'm at. I love Tina Burner, the drag queen, but the concept of Tina Burner, I needed to die immediately.
Yeah, I spit wine out. I was laughing so hard. So
well, really, when she came in and that came down the runway, I was like, oh, it's Maddie Morphous's entry look. So it's
not Maddie Morphosis.
No.
I'm probably going to get hate for that, but
and on the week she got eliminated too, Lucy. How dare you?
Spoiler.
Oh, whatever. I don't care anymore. If you haven't watched the episodes, why the hell are you watching a recap?
This is wrong season. Wrong.
Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Oh, fucking Jujubee. God damn it, Jujubee. I love Jujubee so much. These were all ugly. I still don't think she should have been in the bottom. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, I'll start. I like the first. I love Juju with like lilac hair. I really do. Nope. I don't think anybody looks bad with lilac hair, and there's probably gonna be comments that somebody looks bad with lilac hair.
Deja Sky.
Really?
I don't love Deja in a lilac. I'm gonna be honest.
I think she looks beautiful. Okay.
So many crossovers with season 14 today.
Yeah. But okay, so I did not understand the kitty girl, but I got the Y2K thing because I was like 16. No, I wasn't. I was like 18 when Y2K happened because I'm old. But I had to be alerted to the fact that she had cats on her boobs. And I had to tell you, I need to make this dress. I am making this dress now. This is happening. So I loved it for that. I like the little kitty thing. But overall, was it as amazing as everybody else's? No, but it wasn't offensive. I didn't hate it. The second one, we know that Juju loves LBD.
Mm-hmm.
She loves it. She is giving me Butch Queen realness, running the CEO of the company, running 51% and owning it. I actually think she looked beautiful in the last one. The last one is what Ru would wear, and Ru would wear that hair with it. So to me, like, she fulfilled the brief for the last one. The other two were a little bit lacking. I'll be honest, not my favorite of like when you look at all three, the looks together. But the last one, Ru has worn.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all.
Like for me, the first dress, being as it had the two cats, I think it would have been really cute if she would have made it like a Siamese cat dress. So there was like the Siamese twin cats.
Yes.
And did like the front of the cats, but I would have mimicked that on the back, so it looked like the back of the cats. So it would have looked like, you know what I'm saying?
The cats were going through her.
Or like she's just right in the middle, you know.
I'm gonna come over to your house and we are gonna sew together.
Like,
please.
Like, I just feel like it could have been so close. Like the way the hips came out could have been like, say a cat was sitting facing each other, but their heads were turned. So it could have been like their hips coming out on the side with like little legs on the front. Like it could have been something different. Yeah. But the second one, it like needed spikes, and the sleeves I probably would have cut about 2 inches off of, so they were more masculine. Right. And then the last one, the hair could have just been a little bit bigger. But it, come on, like I just wish she should have done more.
I will say Juju has always been that queen where she doesn't need to have an amazing runway just because her personality and just her, she's so effervescent, she's so wonderful that you let the runway slide. But
and I've hired Jujubee. Like, I've worked with her. She's an amazing queen to work with, and she's so personable and sweet. Like, honestly, the sweetest queen I've ever met. I paid her a lot of money for that night, and most of the night she was sitting at a table with my mom, keeping her company. So she has the biggest heart ever.
She really does.
But your best friend's Raven, and you didn't say, hey, so I'm going on this thing that you're going to be doing makeup on. What do you think of this? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
can I still come to your house and we make a cat dress?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I want to
know. For me personally, this just exemplifies the fact that Jujubee has a silhouette that works for her. And there's a few, and we saw both of them tonight on the runway. Like, unfortunately, like the first look is fine. The second look is my favorite of the three. The third look, while fine, I find that this makes her feel a little bit more squat. Like, it emphasized the fact that she is a short woman for me. Whereas, like, honestly, if she had just taken the front and sort of made it more into a train instead of a front slit again, I think I would have liked it substantially more. I still don't think she should have been in the bottom, because we'll talk about it. But I think it was just not at the level that we know Jujubee to be.
Yeah. And I didn't like it when she opened the black one. That was like, what are you doing?
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either, but it felt disjointed, I guess.
It felt like she brought this for another runway category and was like, this'll work.
That's it. That's what it feels like.
When she started opening it, I thought she was going to like pull it off and like flower petals are going to fall out, like have a Sasha Velour moment, or it was going to like turn down into a dress.
Yeah.
I was like,
that would have, yeah.
It's just a petal.
If we see a 2-in-1 runway on this season, then we know this was for something else.
There you go.
Watch it be the 2-in-1 she wears. That would be.
Honestly, right? Sure. Jimbo did great.
Yeah, Jimbo did great. I loved, like, what was it, Mel B? Don't come for me, guys. I was more into Nirvana than the Spice Girls.
Mel B. Yes, it is Mel B. It is Mel B.
Mel B. Okay, with the thing, I got that. It was a good cat. Loved the cat. Liked the cat. I have to say, I loved the Butch Queen a little bit more because it was kind of giving me like Meatloaf and the Rocky Horror but like Jimbo doing it, which was totally weird. And I was sort of really into it, especially with like the bike, like handlebars coming out of her tits. Loved it. I thought it was pretty funny. And I think, what was it, Michelle and who was somebody else that they didn't understand that? And I was like, I got that right away. I loved it.
Was it Daisy Mae Cooper?
It might have been Daisy that said it. Yeah. And then the last one is totally RuPaul. I mean, I just felt that there was not a lot to it. I felt that it was maybe less work done than some of the other ones that have been done. So
RuPaul has worn that exact gown multiple times on the runway.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's Ru's wig.
I'm pretty sure.
It's lined and it's made very well. It does not look like she made that there.
No.
Like,
and I'm like, if you've worked with sequins, you know that is not fun to work with, and that is lined.
Yeah, she did really good. She did what she was supposed to do. So it's just like the third look isn't like, oh, that's something new, but it's really good. That you'd spend a lot of money to have that made, and she made that in a day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Jimbo, for me, did very, very good. There were just two people that I thought did better overall. is kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
But I think she did great. And that last gown, she made it there with that material. And it looks like a gown that RuPaul has worn 50 times on the runway. So you did the job, girl. You did it.
Yeah, the second look's my favorite by far, but
I agree.
Mine is actually the first look, because it's the best Mel B we've seen on the runway of Drag Race UK.
Yeah.
So
I agree with Lucy. I just love the second. I think that's just the best one she's done. But
it reminds me of like the music video from, completely George Michael from like.
Yes.
Is it like the 90s when we did the runway with?
Yep.
I feel young.
I just wish she would have had a tailpipe. That would have been everything. Like,
could you imagine?
Why didn't she have a tailpipe? This was the perfect moment.
It would have been great if she would have turned around and smoke would have came out of it. I would have,
that would have sold it for me.
But that's always me with like a look in a competition. I would be that like there has to be a gag for everything, but that's just how my brain is. So,
Lucy, I love you.
That's it. She was just missing the tailpipe. It's there, I'm sure, but she's tucked away. Oh,
I'm gonna take a second, compose myself before I discuss Baga Chipz. So y'all go ahead. Y'all discuss Miss Chipz at length. I'm going to take a breather, and I'll be back to give my thoughts on Miss Chipz. Thank you.
I did not... Logan, I did not hate her first kitty girl look. It was a lot going on, but it fulfilled the challenge. I was like, oh, Cheshire Cat. Got it. Cool. The second look... I didn't love. I have to say, I was a little bit offended by that, but that's cool. Having been in the military and worked with the British Armed Forces and knowing several butch gals in both our countries' armed forces, none of them look like that. And they would be offended too. So didn't love it. The last one, it's the only good parts about it are the parts that Pangina did. It's ill-fitting. Is it something Rue would wear? Yeah, but it's not great.
See, the first one for me, all I could think was I want one of those peppermint saltwater taffies. And then she hiked her leg and I was like, cats don't pee like that. So the fantasy was gone.
That's what I said too.
The second one, I don't know other militaries around the world, but the second one, I felt like she was a small mustache away from being like a little questionable.
Sorry to headphone listeners.
Like I said, I don't know what UK military is like, but being
not like that
American, I was like, yeah. And then the last one, the gown's too short; it doesn't fit right. That hair is like, it's more like Anna Nicole at an award show. Like she just went, like she looks more like she borrowed Adore's hair from Snatch Game and said that'll work.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know. I'm nope. And it especially makes me mad that she didn't even do that. Even though I do find it funny that Pangina probably knows that gown was not going to even come near the floor.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm ready to discuss Miss Chipz. Okay, here we go. The first look, I think, is the best Baga Chipz has ever looked on the runway of Drag Race UK. And that's saying something. The second look is half a scotch away from incredibly questionable. And the third look is the worst thing to ever walk the runway of RuPaul's Drag Race. Lala Ree, you're safe.
I was going to say Lala is out.
Lala Ree, you're safe.
I love Lala.
Lala Ree, you're safe in my mind.
Everything about it's just.
I don't want to look. I don't want to look at it anymore. I don't want to discuss it. I don't want to look at it. I'm so sorry.
Change this.
Blu Hydrangea. Much.
I like Blu. I thought the first one was super fun. Was it my favorite kitty girl? Nope. The second, I fucking loved. I loved this. I thought this was great. This was, I think, my favorite Butch Queen moment of the night. I just thought everything about this was so good. The last one, I felt that instead of the strap, the single strap, it should have been an asymmetrical, just shoulder into the sleeve, and then just gotten rid of that strap thing, and that would have felt more Ru. But it did not didn't bother me otherwise. I would have just gone one shoulder into the sleeve. That's all.
Yeah, I like the first one. I just don't like the fur or whatever it is, like between the crotch and the chest. Like that just seems kind of bulky, and it doesn't. I guess, but that's if I have to tear that one apart. The second one, I wouldn't change a damn thing.
No, that's so
like
good.
It was amazing. Even the fact that the dumbbell bent, like that was smart. The last one, she looks like Aquaria, and I'm not. It's like literally if Aquaria Miss Cracker did have a love child.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, and yeah, like you said, I would have got rid of that slit completely.
Yeah.
And probably just asymmetrical would have been 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
And then maybe move that poof up on the shoulder just because that's kind of RuPaul's signature.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
I really like the first look. Actually, I agree with the vaginal fur, the lavender vaginal fur.
Her 70s, 80s fantasy.
Her lavender vaginal fur. I mean, I would have maybe cut it a little bit higher, the lavender vaginal fur. However, I do like the look. The second is one of the best things I've ever seen on the runway. The third look, I actually disagree with you both. I actually really like this. I will agree. I wish it was asymmetrical, but I love how this fabric drape hits the floor because that is very RuPaul. The pantsuit-esque thing under the skirt situation feels very RuPaul for me. It feels like RuPaul meets Blu Hydrangea, which is kind of what the challenge was. And so in that regard, and RuPaul also loves a monochromatic look with a differing hair. And in that capacity, I really liked this out of Blu. I thought overall Blu did a great job.
I think maybe it's just this photograph was just not the right pose because like the legging gets lost in it. Mm-hmm. And like it just looks bulky and too long because you can't, unless you're watching the runway, you can't really tell how the bottom's made.
I saw this photo when I was pulling for this slideshow and went back and looked at the runway because of that exact point, Luci. And it moved a lot better than this photo gives it credit for.
Yeah, I think that's really the problem looking at it. It's just the pose.
Sure. Absolutely. Last up, Mo Hart. Oh boy.
I loved the first. I got the reference. I thought it was so good. Also, her makeup is incredible in this. And I feel like we didn't really get a close-up to really appreciate all the work that went into creating this anime cat character, which I thought was really cool. The second, let me tell you, all of us at Logan's watch party were questioning our sexual orientation as Mo was coming down the runway, because my God, so good. So good. So good. And then when she grabbed the crotch, oh my God. Yeah. So, that's the thing. The last, I get what she was going for. It's a shame that she couldn't execute it in time. but still screams. Ru would probably wear something close to this.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah. The first one, I didn't know the reference at all. Like, so.
I think it was Sailor Moon, right?
It's Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I know nothing. So personally, I didn't like the thing behind her, but I also don't know the reference. It just felt like when she turned, like the edges looked janky, so it kind of took away the crispness of everything else because everything else was so perfect. That's the only thing I would have changed. Or like if you just walked out, showed the front of it, like pulled it off, tossed it to the side, kind of that way it's out of there. But the second one is, I think, my favorite look from the whole night because it's the best reference to a ball that I've seen ever on Drag Race.
Yep.
And it's like that hair is everything. The facial hair is like, I feel like I'm back in the 80s. I'm old enough to remember that. So, and then the last one, I don't like the shoulder thing. It looks like when a cow doesn't eat enough and their hip sticks out. Like, I just...
Sure.
But I like the colors. But yeah, the middle, the rest of it was really good. It just, if it was executed just a little bit better, but I still think she should have been in the top.
Same. Yeah. So having some reference for the Sailor Moon look, I thought she did it exceptionally well. I think the other big thing with Mo specifically is we know they don't get a lot of time to change in between looks. These are 3 completely different makeup looks. And I want to highlight that because that never gets highlighted on the show. I love the Sailor Moon look. The second look is one of the best looks I've ever seen on the runway of Drag Race. The third look, despite the execution errors, I'll say that, I still think is one of the better Ru looks of the night. If we're judging based on what would RuPaul wear, this is up there as one of the looks I genuinely see RuPaul in. So...
And the hair is very Ru.
Yes.
Like, it has...
There's a few people that did Ru hair very well. I think Mo, I think Jujubee, especially season 2 RuPaul. That is the hair RuPaul wore in every single episode, just in different colors.
Yep.
And I think Jimbo as well really succeeded in the Ru hair department. But yeah, I mean that's the runway. That's all of it. We go to critiques. We find out that the top 3 are Jimbo, Janey Jacke, and Pangina Heals, with the bottom 3 being Cheryl Hole, Jujubee, and somehow Mo Hart. And safe, we have Blu Hydrangea and Baga Chipz. And I am just thoroughly convinced at this point that RuPaul is pulling names out of a hat, and that's how he decides who's in the top, who's in the bottom, and who's safe.
It's confusing.
It is criminal.
I don't agree with that.
It is criminal. Criminal, I say. Criminal. Once again, I say criminal. The Baga Chipz was not at least in the bottom 3.
I think everybody on that stage was kind of like, what just happened? Like,
yeah.
I didn't agree with that. I felt Baga should have been in the bottom. For sure.
Baga should have been in the bottom 3. Baga should have been in the bottom 2. And based on performance, Baga should have gone home.
They should have just been like, this week we're only having a bottom 1. Sorry, Baga, you gotta go, because it was bad.
What it should have been, honestly, is Baga versus Juju. For me.
Yeah, as much as I love Juju, it wasn't enough for me. So I agree with Juju being there, but it should have been Baga.
So we do find out the winners are Jimbo and Janey. I personally would have had a completely different top 2.
I didn't. I mean, I get like why they would choose them, especially after the tension that they had. So it's to build that up and make it a bigger thing, but then it wasn't a bigger thing. I probably wouldn't have had both of them as my top two either, but
no, I think Mo should have been in the top two.
Yeah.
And then probably Blu. But Blu did. I don't know, but I was also happy with. I felt like Janey did really good. Also, I really like Janey's second look, so that's how kind of was justifying Janey in that one. But
my top two would have been Mo Hart and Pangina. Based on all three looks together. Because I would weigh them equally. Personally, I think that's how balls should be. Weighed is 33% for each, because even though you're not necessarily making the first two looks, what if you are? And then it seems like it's mostly judged on the final look. So I would have done Pangina and Mo, though I would have been happy with any combination of Pangina, Mo, Jimbo, and Blu. For me, any combination of the four of them, and I think I would have been fine with it. Janey's, I talked about it. Janey's first look just didn't. I honestly just needed a tail. And now that we're looking at it, I think the only two people that did a tail were Cheryl and Mo. I think Blu might have done a tail, but I don't remember. Yeah, no one else did a tail.
Yeah, Blu had a tail.
So
even if you just have one of those little bobcat nubs, how do you not have a tail?
Something. I don't care what it is, just something.
I would have came out as one of those club-footed cats.
Just love that.
I was just on full noodles and just like fall all over. You know,
no one had yarn. No one like. It's upsetting, but we do get Jimbo and Janey winning the challenge with the bottom two of Cheryl and Juju, and I was sad. I was depressed. I was upset.
I don't agree.
Nope.
I do agree with Juju being there, but I really hope that lights a fire for her.
Me too.
I agree.
Because if not, I think she's done.
Yeah.
It's just, I know she has it. It just, yeah. But I also think with Jujubee, she hasn't ever really been pushed to step out of that box.
No.
They've let her be Jujubee, which is great, but it's still a competition.
Yep.
So
even on All Stars 5, she really wasn't pushed outside of her Jujubee box. But no. I think the other difficulty is the only time she's been truly praised for her performance on Drag Race was on All Stars 5, getting her one win in a challenge I still don't think she should have gotten the win in, when I think over her 3 seasons there are challenges she should have won. And so it's difficult. We're also seeing someone compete on Drag Race for the 4th time. She's the first person to do it. We've seen people compete for the 3rd time at this point, but we've never seen anyone compete for the 4th time. And so it's just like, is there more to Jujubee in a Drag Race context? That's kind of what I'm questioning at this point. And I love Jujubee. She's one of my favorites of all time. But it's just like, is there more to Juju? Like, can we juice more out of Juju, honestly? And I don't know if we can at this point, unfortunately.
Well, the big problem with Juju is her runways. But there have been how many queens on the franchise? She can't be like, hey, I need your designer's number. Because you can't tell me that there's not a designer out there that wouldn't be like, Jujubee needs me. For, like, come on.
There's plenty in New York, plenty in Chicago, because I know she still lives in Boston. Like,
there's plenty in Boston too.
There's plenty in Boston. Like it.
She doesn't look like the Boston drag scene. I performed in Boston a lot, and she's like, she doesn't look like the Boston drag scene because Boston's very artsy, and I mean, you have people there like Violencia and stuff. So you have people that have a really cool artistic eye just in Boston, and then Providence is like 30 minutes away, and Providence has some of the best drag in the country. They're just completely overlooked.
Yeah.
They
So
are.
you have these people that are like short driving distance.
Yeah.
Like I know if I sewed and Jujubee's like, I need something, I wouldn't drop everything and do it for her.
Oh yeah.
So
You call me.
That's the only downfall. I just feel like if her runways were elevated, she'd be unstoppable.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, because like I said, like she is. That's the only part that is to her detriment because her personality and her stage presence and everything about her is just so wonderful that you can't clock her for any of that except for when she gets on the runway.
And that's really how she is in person.
Yeah.
Like just how she is on TV. That really, like the time I hired her here in Vermont, it really surprised me just how down to earth she was with everybody. She wanted to know everybody's story. She stayed after the club closed and just hung out back of the club, just talking to everybody, watching the queen and somebody else mess around in the car while we laughed at them. But, she was right there with us. So, she is that big-hearted, sweet person. It's just she needs the clothes to match it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm praying to God the rest of her closet looks better on this season because if she loses for a fourth time
to Baga,
which is probably what's going to happen.
I'm not okay with that. I mean, as soon as I found out, when Logan told me who was going to be on the season, I was like, okay, I full on was like, Juju is my number one. I want to see her win. After that, it's Mo because I've always loved Monique Hart. I just think she's great. I have to say, I am definitely my numero uno this season is Pangina.
Yep.
Pangina just like snuck right in and killed it because I guess I wasn't I wasn't sure what to expect with her because she's never competed. She's always just been a judge. But then now I see her and I'm like, oh my God, she's amazing and like kind of unstoppable. So I want to see her win. But yeah, I just adore Juju and I want to see her do really, really well. So I hope she does. I hope this does light a fire and makes her amazing or makes her really want to push further because I think she's incredible.
Yeah. With that said, I didn't have a whole lot from Untucked, though I did pull 2 quotes. The first being from Mo Hart, saying Baga is the only queen who could corset and still give no silhouette. That might be one of my favorite quotes of all time, honestly. And then the second one from Jimbo when Cheryl is talking to her, and Jimbo says that I'm ready. It seems like Cheryl's ready to give me a foot massage, and I'm ready for it because boy, my shoes hurt, or boy, my feet hurt, or something like that. And I was like, just deadpan to the camera in confessional. I'm like, yes, that's it. I love.
Hashtag Baga Chipz potato realness. But like, we'd be making a face. I mean, look, we've all been there where we put on Spanx or corsetry and you feel like nothing has changed and you are still the like donut shaped person you were before that. But like, my God, she ain't wrong with that.
Well, but also Baga's shape has always been that shape. Just like I've always been a donut person, but I know how to put the right things on so I don't look like a donut person.
Right. Sure. I mean, yeah.
That's why I live in baby doll dresses, because I know what works for me.
Yeah. Or learn how to build out your padding in other areas to make it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. But anyway, Jimbo and Janey lip sync to Supermodel of the World, the LA Toya remix.
They don't need to.
I don't either.
No.
That was a horrible mix to begin with. It had there was no excitement. I think I couldn't tell if the music was boring or they just, I would hate to perform to that because I'd be like, this has no bass.
So I listened to the full LA Toya remix of Supermodel to get some insight. And it's just bad. Mixed with the fact that the BBC has some like music, audio issues in general, which is why Janey's song last week was so messed up. It was bad. I thought Jimbo did the best that she could, and I thought Janey did the best that she could, which was a little bit better than what Jimbo was giving. So
yeah, when I rewatched it today, I was like, oh, it was worse than I remember. Like, it just wasn't exciting. It just wasn't exciting. But I mean, how was it going to be? I just really hope Jimbo somewhere learns to perform before next episode, because that would be the thing to keep her from winning. Is if she has to get to the end and they do something that's choreographed. Because Jimbo literally walks like it's her first time in drag.
Yep. She did on Canada 1. She does now.
Well, because I really thought first episode was just, I'm just going to play this so I don't have to send lemon. But it was, no, she really does walk that way.
Yep, she sure does. And at least in this episode, she wasn't wearing 9-inch stripper heels. It was a normal heel, which is what I was hoping for. But
yeah, it's just not right. But I'm also sure when Jimbo books out shows, it's more on the baloney side as opposed to Glamazon.
Yep. I would bet good money.
I mean, because I know if I ever hire Jimbo, she better show up in a sperm costume with a roll of baloney, or she's not getting in.
Well, I saw a clip on Twitter of her performing in this like giant fur clown number to Coconuts by Kim Petras. And it was everything you would think it would be, but it felt very much so. I have these giant fur breasts and I'm doing a tip spot. Like, that's what the whole clip was. She was just like, coconuts. And like, she was lip syncing. Like, the words coming out of her mouth were fine. But she was like, just walking. She's going to walk this direction. She's going to walk that direction. Coconuts. This direction. That direction. Coconuts. So there's really not a whole lot of like traditional drag queen in Jimbo, but I also, maybe I don't need that.
Yeah, I think that's what I kind of realized with her lip syncing. It's like, not a lip sync artist, but there's a lot more to a drag queen than just being able to like do a really good lip sync. I mean, so it's not something that's a necessity, but for this particular format for, RuPaul's Drag Race, it is, because you have to do that to be able to survive or to win. So, it kind of makes me wonder, is this the right format for Jimbo? Like, would she have been more successful on like Dragula, or?
I think Jimbo could do really great on Dragula.
I agree.
Yeah.
And like, I'm glad that she's on Drag Race. But it's also like, maybe that would have been like where she would have excelled even further.
And maybe in 7 years when her Drag Race contract expires, maybe we'll see her on Dragula season 11. Who knows? Season 12, 13, whatever one we're at that point. Because maybe she's locked in on that RuPaul contract now, so it's going to be ages until she gets out. But nevertheless, Janey wins the most lackluster lip sync in Drag Race history. Sorry, girl. You did the best you could with the song. And she does decide to eliminate Shaz. We lost Shaz.
I didn't agree with that.
As much as I love Jujubee, I also disagreed with this.
Yeah. I didn't like either of them being in the bottom.
I almost feel like she really played it strategically, though, because Jujubee hasn't been given it yet, and Cheryl has been more. She's had more substance, at least so far. So I would have probably got rid of Cheryl too, because I felt like Cheryl was more of a competition than Jujubee so far.
I mean, I agree. From a strategic standpoint, yeah, that makes sense.
I would be a hated person in a situation like this because I'd be that person and be would be a villain all day long. So.
Yep. We love it. Yep. Oh, there's a cat.
Waffles, who would you want eliminated?
Baga Chipz.
He says somebody who wouldn't feed me treats, and that would be Baga.
Baga Chipz. Yep. So, with that, we say goodbye to Shez. Next week is a Rusical, which I'm excited because that feels more in Jujubee's wheelhouse. So, I'm hopeful.
I just hope it's a good Rusical because I'm that gay who doesn't like musicals. Mm-hmm. So anytime they do these, I'm like, oh God, I just want to slam my head off a wall. But I'm hoping it's good.
I'm not a big fan of the Rusicals. I mean, I do love a musical, but like, I don't love the Rusicals because they always, I don't know.
I did like it when they did Rats. I did really enjoy Rats.
I will say the Rusicals on UK have been very good because I think there's only been the one.
I will say, yeah, I agree with you. Rats,
was there one on season 1?
Waffles loved
they
Rats.
Did. It wasn't very good.
I think they only did it on UK too. Oh yes, King. Go off, King.
He loved Rats too.
Yeah, I think Rats is the only Rusical that they've done.
Yeah.
So if that's any indication of the writing that we will get in the Rusical, then I'm happy to see it.
Well, and they also had to sing live in the Rusical, so
yes,
at least that one, and I like it. I like it better when they actually have to do something live as opposed to everything being so tweaked.
I agree.
Because then it's you're lip syncing to someone else's voice, so you have to dictate your lip syncing in this performance based on the way someone else has sung it.
Which I don't live. If it's live, then it's possible that Jujubee could do well with this. If she doesn't, if she has a little more energy.
I think Juju could do well. I think Mo could finally get her first win. I do think Jimbo is going to struggle, unfortunately.
I agree.
I think Janey did well in her Rusical as well on Holland, so I think Janey might do well.
See, and I think Janey's going to struggle with this one.
I don't remember what did she win? Didn't she win the Rusical on her season?
She might have, but I think for some reason I have like a feeling that she's going to struggle. I don't know, and I don't want that to be true, but
yeah.
And then Pangina, you really have to. There's nothing knows? You don't know. Like I've seen lip syncs and runways, but you don't know.
Yeah. I genuinely don't know. So Janey won her Rusical.
Okay, so Janey did win. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I just have like a feeling that she's gonna be like a little bit with this, and I think it is a lot of. I don't know. Maybe it's just like me watching, I guess, like body language or whatnot. But there is like I'm at least noticing that there seems to be a little bit of like fear or trepidation of being the only girl from Holland. So really trying to be like, I have to do this. And we've seen that. She was talking with Pangina about like how much on her to the entire country and all the other queens. And then like letting that get into your head. So I feel like maybe she might let this get into her head a little bit. And I don't want to see that because I don't want to see her or Pangina struggle because I think they're both so fabulous. I don't want to see anybody struggle, but you know.
Logan wants to see Baga struggle.
Yes. Please.
For that.
For the love of God. Fuck Baga Chipz. There, I said it. I don't care anymore. I genuinely don't care. But anywhoozle, that's what we think about RuPaul's Rigged for Baga Chipz race, UK versus the world. But what do you think? Let us know on Twitter. Follow all of us. Let us know in the comments. Subscribe, like all the YouTube things. Follow Luci. Her links are below. Check out her cosmetics brand because it's great. Follow Jaye because if you like vintage, then you like Jaye. Follow me because I'm gay. I don't know.
Logan's amazing. Also, Logan should. What? I love your.
Not this time. Follow Black people because it's Black History Month.
Also that.
Yeah.
That. So, with that, we're going to get out of here. Cheers to you all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Oh, cheers.
Whoa. Goodbye. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Goodbye. What are you still doing here? Goodbye.
What the heck?
Please leave.